What's going on, Sports Wars? This is Ryan with the RK Outpost and GeeksGamers.com. And one of the most surprising moves we saw on Black Monday for the NFL, when so many coaches end up getting fired, was Brian Flores out at Miami. Not a lot of people saw that coming, especially with the season he had last year and the way that they finished this year, going on a really great run the last half of the regular season with Tua Tagovailoa at quarterback. He had injuries. The Dolphins had definite problems and dysfunction throughout the year. But when Brian Flores was out, that's a big surprise for a lot of people. Of course, the mainstream media would point to it and say, well, he didn't get enough of a chance because he's a black man, because that's what the mainstream sports media always wants to make it about. But now we're hearing something coming out today about Brian Flores and his relationship with Tua that may explain why he's out in Miami. And this comes from Barstool Sports. Michael Lombardi says Brian Flores told Tua he wished he drafted Mac Jones. And we do have some audio. It's over a minute long, but we have to be upfront. Michael Lombardi has already come out and clarified this, or at least tried to do damage control on this clarification. Michael Lombardi says this: I misspoke on the pod. Those were my words for Flores, not his. Well, I think that's interesting. Obviously, Michael Lombardi was an assistant with the Patriots at the same time that Brian Flores was an assistant at the Patriots. They probably know each other pretty well. I think he's probably running a little bit of damage control right now, because I think he was probably pretty honest when he first talked about it. But I'm going to let you guys judge for yourselves. This is the words over here on the GM Shuffle podcast. Michael Lombardi. Let's listen.
Which I think they're going to find out if people are honest in the interview, right? Like, a lot of people are never honest in the interview. They tell the owners what they want to hear. They tell the GMs what they want to hear. But if you're really honest, are you going to sit there and say, I can build a team around Tua? Because that's what Ross wants to hear. That's what Brian Flores wouldn't say. I mean, we've seen all the conversations that Flores basically had with Tua, where Flores told Tua at halftime of the Tennessee game. This has all been reported. I mean, look, I don't think Flores was shy about telling him, hey, I should have picked Mac Jones. I mean, I don't think he was shy about telling him that. In fact, I know that he wasn't.
So there's still more to go. We'll listen to the rest of it. But does that sound like he was misspeaking, or like he didn't have any inside information? He was just kind of making it all up, which is the spin he's trying to put on it now? That's not the way it sounds to me. And if you were a general manager who drafted Tua and you want Tua to be the quarterback going forward, and this is the way your coach is talking to your quarterback, or if he's just making that known to you behind the scenes, maybe that is why you have this split in Miami. But let's continue on.
You know, I remember I said there was commentary between the head coach and Tua during the season, and I wouldn't reveal what the conversation was. Well, the conversation was, hey, if I'd have knew you're going to be this bad, I'd have picked Tua. I would have picked Mac Jones. That's the conversation. So, I don't think there was any. So the next guy come in, if Flores felt that way, how is the next guy going to come in and fix it? You say, well, they're going to run an offense that suits what Tua does. They are running an offense that suits what Tua does. It's the only offense you can run. It's the only one you can run. You got to run an RPO where he can throw little passes and run after the catch.
Now, I've made it very clear that I'm not a big Tua guy. I don't think he's a recipe for success in the NFL, not in any long-form way or long-term way. But for the head coach of the Dolphins, to say something like that to your quarterback, a quarterback who you've already pulled out of games when they got tight, to put Ryan Fitzpatrick in there, a guy who you already tried to move in the offseason to get Deshaun Watson, like, that can have such a big impact on the development of someone like Tua and his confidence and everything going forward. To say I should have drafted Mac Jones, or imply to him he wishes he would have drafted Mac Jones instead of sticking with Tua, that is, I think, would be a big reason why the general manager would decide to move on from a head coach in that type of way. Again, you got to go back to what Michael Lombardi said. He says, I misspoke on the podcast. Those were my words for Flores, not his. I don't think anybody really buys that. Do you? Do you buy that, now all this time afterwards, after he started getting some heat, after his friend Brian Flores started getting some heat, do you think that he just made that up? That was his words for Flores? It doesn't sound that way to me. And I'm sure it doesn't sound that way to a lot of other people. But what do you guys think about this? The idea that Brian Flores allegedly, essentially made Tua know that he's not a good enough quarterback for him to build around, that he wishes he would have drafted Mac Jones instead of having to stick with Tua. And maybe that is why Brian Flores is out at Miami. Let me know in the comments below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.